But here's something the religious also have to deal with. These passages from Exodus that hint that a slave can go free at some point, they only apply to Jewish slaves. Throughout the Hebrew Bible, Israel tried to look after their own and really tried to limit inhumane acts to non-Hebrews. As brutal as you could be to a Hebrew slave, the limits for non-Hebrews were not given the same restrictions. For example, Leviticus 25 clearly states,
"Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and members of their clans born in your country, and they will become your property. You can will them to your children as inherited property and make them slaves for life, but you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly."
And you may ask, well, how do you go about getting slaves from other places? Is there a slave mart in the suburbs of Jericho?
As you approach a town to attack it, first offer its people terms for peace. If they accept your terms and open the gates to you, then all the people inside will serve you in forced labor. But if they refuse to make peace and prepare to fight, you must attack the town. When the Lord your God hands it over to you, kill every man in the town. You may keep for yourselves all the women, children, livestock, and other plunder. You may enjoy the spoils of your enemies that the Lord your God has given you.
Good old Yahweh working up a number 6 on them.
Number 6? I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that one.
Well, that's where we go riding into town. A whopping and a whopping. Every living thing that moves within an inch of its life. Except the women folks, of course.
You spare the women?
No, we rape the shit out of them at the number 6 dance later on.
Marvelous. That's so creative. Ow!
But there is one last defense we hear anytime we bring up the evils of the Old Testament. Slaves, obey your earthly masters with deep respect and fear. Serve them sincerely as you would serve Christ. Christians who are slaves should give their masters full respect so that the name of God and his teachings will not be shamed. In a parable in Luke 12, Jesus talks about a slave who knows the master's will and does not do what the master wants, stating that he will be beaten with many blows. Look, if slavery is so wrong, Jesus had every chance to stop it, to speak out against it, but he did not. Slavery occurred during the time of Jesus. Slavery continued after Jesus. It wasn't until nearly 2,000 years later that we put an end to it. But guess what never changed? The Bible. The words in the book were the same 1,500 years ago as they are today. And that's why when you hear idiots like the good reverends from the beginning of this video say what they did, you can't deny that they were at least backing up their terrible claims with chapter and verse. So what changed from then until now? It wasn't the Bible. Those verses in both the Old and New Testaments are now ignored by even their followers.